time to get geeked up.
And I guess then to get into Coronaville news and to really top it off, right behind Screech News number one.
Yeah, keep the dirtball stores coming, by the way.
Second on the list, and speaking of dirtballs, first time in history, a lot of things have been happening first time in history, but old Trump getting impeached for his second time.
The second impeachment. If one isn't historic enough, he's going down in history. There's no fucking doubt about that. You gotta give it to
Trump, man. He knows how to franchise something. Oh, you thought fucking impeachment 1 was good? Wait till you see the sequel, impeachment 2.
He's got more impeachments than bankruptcy fucking claims, this guy. He's got quite the resume, old Trump. But yeah, I mean, I guess like we did talk about a little bit, consult the Netflix and chat for part 1 of the whole riot fallout. But now here we sit, I guess, like a full week removed from it. And I guess we've started to see some of the actual fallout from it politically and whatnot. As like Devin said, officially has been impeached for a second time. Now they will vote to see if it's actually, goes through or whatnot, if he's actually officially...
But, I mean... He's being impeached this time. He's being charged with incitement of insurrection because of, like we said, the storming of Congress. And, dude, like, there's no if way about it. He was literally doing his Save America rally and then told everyone, like, you know what, go storm Congress. And then they fucking did. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that was a literal quote, by the way. I think that was...
No, it is. It is a literal quote. Like, there's literally a straight line from the Save America rally right to the fucking Capitol.
Yeah. No, I mean, 100%. And he'd been calling for it for weeks. There's going to be, ever since even the Proud Boys Stand Back, Stand By, there's going to be all sorts of tie-ins to, the past 4 years of involvement and leading up to this, and...
Well, it's a lot of things, too, because this time, he's not going to be president anymore because McConnell says he's probably not going to bring back Senate until Trump's last day in office. But even then, like, enough Republicans are going to be like, oh, dude, we don't have to work for this guy anymore. Fuck him. Yeah, he's guilty. And if he gets convicted, it's not like, obviously you can't throw him out of office because he'll already be out of office, but they could charge him with not being able to ever run for any kind of office again. So his whole plan is if he's not in jail 4 years later, he can't run for president again.
No, for sure. They're just trying to stop, cut this off at the root right now and just fucking never have to deal with the headache again in terms of an official.
And I think most Republicans don't want him around again. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, for sure. It would definitely be better for all of them to be able to, even the ones that wanted to kind of just chicken hawk off of his supporters or whatnot, like Howley or whatnot, or one of these maniacs who can just try to take over all of the Trump supporters if they wanted to go that route. It would even be better for them to not have Trump around. And for all other Republicans, it definitely couldn't be good to have Trump around fucking, for any other Republicans. So I'm not sure if it will go down, though, just because Republicans are that shady that I still think that they will ultimately side with the party, and I don't know if they will officially.
Correct.
I don't know if it will officially go down, be convicted, like you said. But just the, second impeachment, I guess, is the necessary way to start, and the fact that they are, at least everybody is right now on the same page, with it being a total disgrace for our country that it happened and whatnot, and with him having a huge involvement. And there's really no way, the liability is just so obvious that he... they're all waving his flag and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, it's all so.
Well, again, they all came from his Save America rally and just walked right over to the Capitol building.
I know because I was trial by combat.
I saw it on
that's just the obvious stuff. Like I'm saying that there's once they start looking into it, there's even today there's the story more of Republican Congress people giving the rioters tours and whatnot. But the more and more we're starting to learn of the day before, the day before the riot, a lot of the people that were in the riot on Wednesday, on Tuesday, were given private tours by Republicans of certain areas or whatnot. Then the next day they were seen having to know, little recon tour is the theory that, fingers are being pointed right now anyway. But there's going to be so much more stuff like that with just phone calls and communications with people that were involved or with higher powers that they're going to find that were the main instigators in this kind of stuff. There's going to be some correlation between the Trump campaign, the Trump team, and the leaders of this insurrection. They're going to find some type of level of communication or some involvement between the two of them to at least prior knowledge. And there's definitely going to be just everything the way that they handled it from the defense standpoint, not having enough security and not calling for backup for all that kind of stuff. Like, there's just so much. It's just so obviously his fault. Totally is doing. It's going to be, and he had his great day. It was a great day for him, like we talked about last week. He had his big going away party, as I called it. He had his propaganda photo shoot where he staged the takeover of the Capitol Hill. So forevermore, he can show that as proof as to how fucking fervent his supporters were and how much the country really was behind him and not the government. But ultimately speaking, it's going to turn out to be fucking really bad for him at the end of the day. He won the battle, but he lost the war because he's fucked, the party's fucked, everybody's fucked, all because of him and his shenanigans. So he even got thrown off of Twitter, which I think is the only thing that he really cared about in this scenario.
Yeah, no. That's what he's fuming over. He's like, he needs to put out his tweets again.
But in all honesty, I mean, that's become his only platform and his only friend. I mean, and that's moved on to be the next big issue of the whole situation is the censorship issue, as Twitter, then of course Parler, which is something that I had never even heard of, but I guess was like a right-wing style Twitter.
Yeah, Parler's crazy. Parler is like your right-wing conspiracy theory. How is Trump not on there, by the way?
Seriously, like
as like king of.
Well, I guess he was,
Parler.
but now he's not, because I mean he's been thrown off, and that I guess brings up the whole censorship issue. And again, consult our YouTube page for me and Devin's epic debate. That's not really about censorship, although she's supposed to be. And then
just watch the hater.
Yeah, just watch the hater. I mean, I guess in that whole thing, you were because I did listen to it around New Year's. You were down for them having to fact check. You know what I mean? At that time when we recorded, it was over the summer, and Facebook was starting to be like, no. What Trump just said is totally not true. Like this is all before the election, obviously. So like all of the misinformation sense where it's been shut down is like different story. So I was for the they should be allowed to do whatever they want as a company. If they want to let it fly, they should. If they want to shut it down, they should be able to. I was a fan of the verified account kind of Twitter.
Yeah.
But ultimately speaking, though, we are definitely seeing a lot of the problems that we talked about from social media and disinformation and all that kind of shit, misinformation, and even just like in terms of the hater, which was about the Polish kind of Polish kind of like social media hacks and campaigns against the social, the political, the mayor of Poland or whatnot. It's kind of the same thing that's like affected our election, and in some ways it
absolutely
honestly, could be the Russian hack that everybody has theorized about. Like they were kind of a part of that movie, or just like part of the theory of social media hacks. Or there's like these misinformation campaigns that get started against people to spread like either crazy information to either defame their character or just to get everybody all confused and riled up. But maybe Russia was behind the fact that fucking a huge percentage of our country does not believe the facts that the election took place. You know what I mean? If we're wondering how, how could this happen where the separation of truth in this country is so big, the gap of what, one people believe is the truth and the other people believe the truth, like what fucking got into the, what exactly caused this? Maybe it was, like in the hater, it was a fucking secondary media hack that did it from foreign agencies that were paid to bring them down. And there's been this huge conspiracy of the Russian hack. Maybe this was the Russian hack leading the fucking misinformation campaign to fucking lead enough people to believe that the election was a fraud, to fucking show up and turn our Capitol Hill down and fucking start the Civil War, which is literally what happened. There was literally a militia group led by a group of politicians that took over our fucking Capitol Hill. That's the beginning of a civil war. Like, that's a fucking, that's a statement of war. And it was a trial, a self-proclaimed trial by combat, And there are these fucking ties to Russian, Russian ties with Trump. And this would be the way that, like, a Russian misinformation campaign would go down to fucking disintegrate the, fabric.
And I think you're really bearing the lead here, because at the center, really, of all this misinformation, you can look right at the Capitol riots itself, and they're really, like you said, like, some people believe one thing, some people believe the other. You're really bearing the lead with the whole Civil War thing, and the real question is, with misinformation, was that Chuck Norris
seriously.
at the Capitol
talk
riots?
about the gap. I don't even know what to believe anymore. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Is this Chuck Norris or not? I mean, this is definitely the greatest story of the, and the hits keep on rolling from this goddamn fucking riot. Like, I mean, I guess before we get to Chuck Norris, I guess first of all, my first favorite story was the last year's nominated Geeked Up Man of the Year, the Horns guy, his hunger strike that he's been going on, refusing to eat non-organic food in jail. It's been a fucking hilarious shit show to follow. But now my favorite story is obviously this fake Chuck Norris fiasco, where Chuck Norris, if I'm not correct, isn't he like already a huge Trump fan though? Like adding confusion to the fire? But like he's like, there aren't a lot of celebrities that are out there like fucking giving a big thumbs up to Trump. Chuck Norris has always been that
Kid
guy.
Rock and Scott Baio.
Yes.
I think
so Chuck Norris is like a known Trumper, okay? And then there's this whole fiasco at Capitol Hill where there's these pictures going on of a dude that looks now like. What do you think?
Well,
dude?
I'll say this. I read the story first, right? And it was just like Chuck Norris tweeted. He was like, I recently learned there was a Chuck Norris lookalike at the DC Capitol riots. It wasn't me, and I wasn't there. There is no room for violence of any kind in our society. I always will be for law and order. I was like, okay. And then I looked at the picture, and I was like, oh, this fucking bozo was 100% there.
Chuck Norris is obviously there.
I just like pulled the Trump card and be like, no, it's not true. It's much like the fucking Death to 2020 movie we watched with Lisa Kudrow, where like they're showing you a fucking exact picture of something. Like, nope, that never happened.
Like, nope, wasn't there. It wasn't me. But I mean, honestly, though, you got to think like how many fucking Trump support, how many Red Staters walk around on a regular daily basis looking just like Chuck Norris?
Well, that was my other thought too. Look. Like, was that guy just living like the best life like you and I did when we wore our puffy shirts to the Mets game? Like, was that guy just walking around and taking pictures with people and just having the fucking time
that
of
was
his
costume
life,
for the
he's got the Texas
Chuck
Bolo
Norris
tie on, dude.
What are you wearing to the riot, Chuck Norris? My Chuck Norris flannel. Oh, I'm going with my horns. I'm going with my moose horns and bear pelts. But I'm sticking with the Confederate. Tom's bringing the old Confederate flag.
Dude.
But honestly,
I know
it looks like just enough not like him for me to believe. And also, I feel like he would be one of these guys that would be, oh, no, I was there. And I was fucking proud to be there. Much like Horns Guy, who they tried to get Horns Guy in reverse psychology and be like, hey, I hear he's really Antifa. And he's like, hey, no, fuck that. I'm not Antifa. I'm QAnon, bitch. Like, get my fucking extremist conspiracies right, goddammit. But, so, like, he's like a lot of these nuts have been like, no, I was there, and this is a fraud. They believe it's a fraud. Like, honestly, and we talked about it a lot last week, man. I've got a level of sympathy, and I've got a level of, encouragement that there are people that will defend our country with these beliefs once we get them fucking of sound mind, believing the right facts. Fucking China ain't coming over to take over our goddamn country with these pit bulls with these pit bulls on our team. We just got to get them on our team, these fucking maniacs. And the team is just fucking get them reading the fucking right newspaper, for God's sakes.
But Chuck Norris should know better.
Yeah, so, but a great story, though, and really a total mindfuck. And how perfect, just like we said, of 2020 to just where the spread of information and just like the perception of truth is so hazy right now, comes the mindfuck of the Chuck Norris photo. And like...
Well, I would say, too, in other hilarious celebrity photos, though, and sticking with Corona news, is the fucking Karen-esque photo of Bruce Willis in the Rite Aid in L.A. being asked to leave for not wearing a mask.
Yeah, Bruce Willis's Karen moment.
Dude, I looked at that picture. I was hoping there was a video attached to it of him literally throwing a Karen rat. Being like, "It's not the law. You can't make me."
I'm not wearing the mask. I'm not wearing the fucking mask. God damn it.
But also, the fucking bozo's got a goddamn bandana wrapped around his neck. Just fucking pull the thing up, you idiot.
Well, you don't tell Bruce Willis what to do in the CVS. God damn it, that's fucking.
He left though. You know, he didn't make a stink out of it. He even said it was an error. He said, "quote It was an error in judgment, and also to be safe out there, everyone. Let's continue to mask up." Like, yeah, asshole.
I mean, another great story though. You're right. The only thing we're missing on that one is a video, but just the headline of Bruce Willis. Now, where does Bruce Willis stand on the whole Trump situation? I wouldn't be surprised. Does he like?
He seems like a Trump guy.
Yeah. Let's be honest.
Come on, the working class guy from New Jersey, the fucking old bartender from New Jersey.
Even his whole weird thing with Kutcher and Demi Moore, like that seems like a very fucking.
That's another weird thing. In the story, it said he's
out.
Quarantining with like his new wife and Demi Moore, and like all their families are like quarantining under one house.
No, there's
like,
some
what?
weird. There's
Aren't
some
you guys
weird
all rich?
thing going on. Fucking. No, seriously, you guys are all under fucking one roof. But then there have been, I guess, in the Bruce Willis and Chuck Norris category, there have been some other celebrities, I guess more in like the Screech list of celebrity, though, like of the C or D list celebrities. But there have been some confirmed celebrities, and I guess much like, unlike Chuck Norris, who's been a little bit hazy on whether he was or was not there, Zach Deputy has been fucking fully down to admit that he was part of the whole melee.
Which is fucking crazy too, man. Because I don't know if you've ever seen him. He's just this big fat, like all about peace and love, like, or so you would think.
Yeah, for sure. He's
like a festival. Like if you go to any festival in Florida, odds are Zach Deputy is going to be doing like the 11 a.m. Saturday morning show. You know what I mean? All right, again. But dude, like again, he's just one of those people that are misinformed and was like, oh, I mean, this whole election was fraud. It's like, says who, Zach Deputy? You fucking nut. And then he like made this video too of just like after he got exposed for being there. His video, his quote unquote apology video, wasn't even that. He's like, man, you guys are fucking crazy out there giving me all this gruff. It's like,
oh, right.
Dude, what are you doing?
He was surprised.
Yeah.
He was
yeah. But the picture, he's wearing his fucking MAGA hat and his fucking grinning ear to ear.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then as well, a couple, I guess, kind of like athletes, celebrity athlete kind of figures, but one, I guess, like retired UFC fighter. I believe it was Pat Miletich, but I'm not exactly.
Chuck Liddell.
Yeah, I mean,
he seems like he'd be there.
Yeah, exactly. From that camp. I'm sure that like there were, only one UFC fighter, but a lot of UFC fans out there. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, and then as well another interesting one, but a Olympic swimmer. I think maybe Cleet Keller. But so a gold medal Olympic ex-Olympic swimmer from the U.S. as well as a noteworthy.
Caitlyn Jenner was there.
But so a couple. I'm not really sure how they've responded to the. I'm not sure if they've had their Zach Deputy fucking double down moment online, or if they've showed remorse or whatnot. But,
or are they waiting to see how fucking Chuck Norris's story works out? Be like, holy shit, that worked. Like, yeah, that wasn't me, dude.
Yeah, I guess. So time will tell on the Chuck Norris story, but I mean the pictures of like the guy posing with Chuck Norris, I love that guy as well. Like how excited that guy fucking must like just like in the middle of that crowd standing and then going to his buddy like, dude, is that fucking Chuck Norris? And like how logical it would be and how much he looked like Chuck Norris. I mean,
it's much like the time I thought I saw John C. Reilly at a bar until I spoke to him and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's not John C. Reilly. That's
somebody might have been telling you that it definitely was. Yeah. Another one of the Geeked Up boys might have been egging on at drunken barns that it definitely was, and to play it cool, using a little reverse psychology and telling you, yeah, dude, be cool. John C. Reilly's a huge soccer fan. Of course he's...
And that totally makes sense. Like that totally fits into something that would be true. But much to the point, dude, I was fucking blacked out, drunk, like we said. And the second I talked to the guy, I was like, "Hey, are you?" And he's like, "Yes." I was like, "Oh no, you're not." But this bozo smiling ear to ear, thinking it really is Chuck Norris, leading me to believe that it's the Chuck man himself.
Honestly, I guess another piece of circumstantial evidence would be, though, if Chuck Norris really was fucking walking sorry, if Chuck Norris really was walking around this fucking 1,000 people, gathering, there'd be a lot more than one goddamn picture of Chuck Norris, like there would be he would be noticed by all sorts of people, and there would be tons and tons of Chuck Norris selfies going around, you know what I mean? Or other, like, Twitter feeds, timestamped, like, just saw Chuck Norris at the MAGA rally, like, about to storm the Capitol. Fucking white power fist. Yeah.
Obviously, it would have been him kicking the doors open to the Capitol, too.
Oh, dude. That might have gotten me on the side of this whole. I guess the answer to Chuck Norris karate kicking the doors down, I guess, would be Arnold's speech, building the walls back up, putting the pieces together for American democracy. And I'm to being like only half joking around about the Arnold speech, but honestly, if you have not seen Arnold's like in office speech in California with the flag, but like Arnold gives like a really serious, poignant, emotional speech about his childhood in Austria, after the effects of World War II, which is like it's really on so many levels like a great speech, and then he even coming hard with a Conan the Barbarian reference, like.
So good. Well, dude, one, it doesn't hurt that there's a fucking underscore during the whole thing, that he had the thing soundtracked, first of all, you know what I mean?
And there's camera cuts, like, going away into, like, like, long fadeaway cuts.
And like you said to the Conan thing, dude, he's also holding that sword for 5 minutes before he puts brings any reference to it. You know what I mean? The first 5 minutes of that speech, he's just holding this giant barbarian sword and doesn't fucking acknowledge it at all.
My father came back from World War II.
Does he always sit around with that
is
thing?
He gonna be fun? Does he know he's holding a fucking 5 foot long fucking, and then he even this sword forged in the fire is gonna be like American democracy. It was fucking.
It was amazing, dude. It was like a Game of Thrones speech. He's like, "You go to the fire, the sword," and I don't want. And he throws a little comedy in there. "I don't want you all to be expert sword makers."
I mean, it was a little too long, much like Terminator 5, a little too long. I could have done with it's like fucking 8 minutes, this thing. But
dude, you got to remember too, like, because he's straight up calls out Trump and he's like, "You're a failed leader." But you got to remember, dude, that they
honestly,
already have
one of the great quotes, honestly, dude, amazing quote. But in a couple of months, Donald Trump is going to be as irrelevant as an old tweet. Arnold Schwarzenegger, fucking hilarious,
dude. What a bird!
Seriously,
but you got to remember
too,
like they have beef going back to when Trump got elected president or was running for president. Arnold took over The Apprentice, and then it got canceled. Then Trump would always bully him about it and be like, "Loser Schwarzenegger couldn't take a winning show."
Well, I mean, Trump point Trump on this one. I mean, like I always say, just because we hate Trump doesn't mean that he doesn't get to fucking have any battles, right? Like, he was a better Celebrity Apprentice host than Arnold. What can you say? I mean, it's fucking facts or facts.
It was his show. He gave it to Arnie, and Arnie dropped the ball.
It was like Will Ferrell taking over from Carell on The Office. It's just something's not right, it's not what we're looking for from.
But again, Arnold's always been one of those Republicans though that has been like, fuck Trump, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Again, I think that has more to do with The Apprentice and less than politics. He fired me.
But honestly, if you need to restore your sense of pride and patriotism, go check. And it won't be the first time that Arnold Schwarzenegger has reduced me to tears.
Ooh, baby, it's time to get geeked up.